Okay, welcome to the third Job Spectrum Survey report. This is the report for Gemini 2025, and it's the Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And we collected this information from May 19th to June 20th to 23rd, right there. And Gemini gets 3 votes, and then the Aquarius and the Libras get 1 vote apiece in the assigning of value, because that's how the job spectrum mechanism works. It is an actual mechanism. I'm going to show you that here shortly. It's an idea sprung from a piece of my artwork, different ways to pay baseball players that came from this art piece about baseball, and this idea sprung into my head. It's a brand new concept. Nothing like the job spectrum exists. Out of its myriad of uses, which can be explained, it can be franchised, and we can swap this information out to be a completely different mechanism for a completely different subject. But it's built to address society's many issues and to propose solutions for those problems that it addresses. You can pause these and read those at your leisure. But one of the things I like to point out is that this is the first capitalistic business model that incorporates the zodiac into the way it operates. And it does that strictly to divide the populace. But this gives us an opportunity to manufacture some interesting data that we didn't know existed and flesh out some of those traits that the zodiac signs supposedly have. And it's kind of starting to do that even at this early stage. The job spectrum does make money because it repurposes advertising and marketing to a co-op owned media channel, which is a part of this special sauce that I keep insisting this thing has, and it does. It's just too much to explain right now. But the job spectrum does empower people to collectively influence how the different job roles are valued, offering a way to elevate undervalued professions. That's built into the way this survey is designed. So you guys can pause and read that. The Job Spectrum Survey is what we're selling you, and it's the world's first shared labor through the zodiac, shared revenue through the co-op media channel, repurposed and advertising and marketing mechanized survey, governed by the eternal laws and principles of nature and mathematics, which manufactures data with meaning. Through these 3 questions, what's the importance of this job to society? What's the skill involved in performing the job? And then how do you rank the relative ease physically of performing this job? And then it goes back to the job spectrum mechanism. The mechanism turns. 3 votes for Gemini right here, that's where we're at. So 3 votes for Gemini, and then 1 vote of the assigning value for Aquarius and the other for the Libra. And what that does is that gives each zodiac sign weight in how it wobbles, just like the Earth wobbles on its axis throughout the great year, which again goes back to the zodiac and how the mechanism of consciousness operates. Everything in the job spectrum emulates consciousness. So let's go right into Gemini survey results. Pretty interesting. There's a tie for second with general skilled tradesmen with electrical plumbing, and then the farming and food industries. But we've got a new number 1 from the past 2 months, which was farming and food industries, military, public service, and disaster response is number 1. Why do you think that is right now? Well, it's because we've got all kinds of new wars and all kinds of disasters happening. And it seems like just with the small survey group we had, that was prioritized up at the top. We can go through the restaurant, hospitality, and food services is coming at number 5 for the 3rd month in a row, as well as banking, financial examiners, and finance ranked number 14 for the 3rd month in a row. So here's the number of guild member totals, and thank you all 20 of you who have taken the Job Spectrum Survey so far. The Job Spectrum Survey works at any size, again, because it emulates consciousness. And again, where Jesus says, where 2 of you talk to me, I'm there with you. And then this is the split of the Shiba coin currency of the Job Spectrum Survey. It has no worth right now, but once this catches on, guess what? The value of Shiba is going to go up. So here's the interesting thing. Here's the 1st month survey results. Here's the 2nd. And again, we had this traumatic dynamic changing of places of the different guilds coming in at different spots. And then we've got the same kinds of motions with the guilds coming in right here. All kinds of crazy movement. But then we've got, again, like I said, restaurant, hospitality, and service workers across Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. Those seem to be at this level, the importance of how those people do their jobs. And then the same thing with banking, financial examiners, and finance, which kind of divides up the first tier, second tier, third tier. Yeah, general insurance industries and risk pools, this went up. And again, the reason why this went up again is probably because of wars and disasters. This is when people start thinking about general insurance industries and risk pools. This is when it becomes important to them. Marketing, advertising, and creative services, and to a lesser degree, information, knowledge, and security and software developers, there's less importance there. But again, this is gamified capitalism, and it's month to month. And this is why the job spectrum is so fun, and why I really enjoy the data at manufacturers. And the more and more people we have in the pools taking the survey, the more and more opportunities there's going to be for advertisers. And this is only the tip of the manufacturer data iceberg. Now I'm funding it with Sheba, but hopefully we're going to have some people buying ads and support of the job spectrum survey, and also sponsors. Maybe we can have a nice big corporate sponsor who will sponsor the survey. So this kind of goes into the beta test that I did a few years ago, and more of a cohesive up and downs. I don't know how it will look in the future, but I think that that's what we've got going now is a lot different from what we had back then. I am teaching you a new game or procedure. That's why anyone would want to do this. It's kind of like James Naismith teaching basketball. And it reminds me a lot of CrossFit. You know, CrossFit didn't exist in 2007. Now it's a $1 billion industry. What did they do? They only just repurposed exercise and made it into a sport. The job spectrum is repurposing capitalism and making it into a kinder, funner, gentler, cleaner, more highly evolved way to approach civilization and the jobs we all do. So what we're selling you is a participant-owned co-op media channel. We're repurposing advertising and marketing through a simple survey that I designed, creating an index of multiple revenue streams, just like the stock market. It's an index. You don't say NASDAQ, you say the NASDAQ. You say the stock market. You say the job spectrum. And what we're doing is we're gamifying and democratizing capitalism itself. Well, I hope that you thought that this was interesting. This is how the job spectrum is going to move from month to month, and we're going to do at least 12 of these just to kind of teach the game and show people how it works. The job spectrum is just the beginning. There are so many different ways that we can rethink human beings on the surface of planet Earth and how we treat each other and what we're doing here, and why we have to rethink how we do things. That is what art's task is. Art's task is to show not the way forward, but a way forward. So that's what we're trying to do here at the Job Spectrum. I hope you enjoyed this. This is the artist formerly known as Blake Art, signing off for the Job Spectrum. Have a nice day, everybody. Goodbye.
Art's task is to save the soul of mankind, and that anything less is a dithering while Rome burns. Because if the artists who are self-selected for being able to journey into the other, if the artist cannot find the way, then the way cannot be found.